we had a chance to investigate a new location. One that, as far as we know of, nobody's investigated yet. Recording on the Zoom mic. Little did we understand when we drove up to this property and walked through the doors what a fundamental shift it would have
Recording on Handycam 2
in our thinking as paranormal investigators.
There. Okay, so we got Joe and Jay here, who have led us to this abandoned house in Whitewater, the Michael Ward house. This is a historical house. It's actually on the Wisconsin Historical Society's website. When was this house built? Late 1800s?
70.
Jay and Joe
1870.
had history with the Ward house.
There's Tom.
Hello.
Say hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
And they visited this house a number of times and had paranormal experiences. All right, we've got 1:58 a.m.
We start getting our control mics going right away. We're going to get some equipment set up and eventually do an EMF sweep here. We carried about our setup, not knowing that the control mic that Tom had placed near the front door in the living room was recording something that I've never seen in any of these investigations.
From the time it started recording, it started picking up this weird bass tone.
The control mic recorded a set of frequency tones that were very low, around the 30 to 40 hertz area of the extremely low frequency bandwidth in the living room near the front door.
Space tone lasted for 11 minutes and then just stopped.
Alright, this is a millimeter. You ever seen one of these? This ELF or infrasound has been associated with paranormal activity. I've read about this kind of thing, but I've never actually encountered it. Not like this.
Get an electromagnetic spike.
A continuous
It won't make any noises or anything like that. It'll just
ELF
register
signal
and then sometimes either completely disappear or back down to zero.
for 11 minutes.
So if you see that thing spike,
And then the
certainly shout it
signal
out.
disappears.
These later.
No longer
Yes,
there.
I've got a REM pod feature activated on right now. So
Also, as we're setting up, the microphone sitting on the counter
disturb the field, it'll light up like this.
picked up a frequency pop.
We didn't know we recorded it, but
It'll light up like
we usually see this stuff happen right before the paranormal activity begins.
Obviously, we'll hear that from the lot. It does.
At this time, we decided to
7.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
set our Rex camera shooting up the stairs. The central focus of our investigation was the staircase just about in the center of the home. It was around this staircase where Jay and Joe had their paranormal experiences.
If we were able to get activity going like Joe and Jay had just a week before with a bottle that had moved on its own there at the base of the stairs and a cell phone that had drained of all of its batteries at the top of the stairs, we really wanted to make sure we had that staircase covered.
Like every investigation, we set up this battery experiment. We set a static camera on that, hoping to document a battery drain.
For as many dozens of times we've set this battery experiment up, we still haven't gotten a documented drain on camera. But we'll keep trying this. This field is all about repetition, and one day, maybe it'll work. And on the outside chance that it does, it is worth every effort.
So the battery experiment's going upstairs. Halfway down the stairs, we set up a REM pod, some static detection equipment, and a shadow detector rig down the center line of the house, covering the entrance to the front room, the stairwell, and the bathroom.
One of the devices we used on this investigation was our Ovilus. Our viewers are familiar with our Ovilus. The Ovilus is a device that listens to a spectrum of energy and goes into a phonetic dictionary to spit out a word when it detects a change in the environment energetically is taking place. Not that the word's always contextual, but it's very accurate in terms of picking up weird energetic changes in the environment.
We use it with some caution.
The words that come out of the ovulus, we have to presume are completely random, although occasionally we will get a response that's basically impossible to ignore because it's so contextual.
But I believe the most important use of our audio is that it will basically tell us when the energy in the room changes.
And it's very useful for this.
Hey Tom, where did you want the powder set up?
Little do we know this
The
night,
trigger object.
we would have something occur with our ovulus that is inexplicable.
Base of the steps.
Yeah, 'cause we didn't hear footsteps last time.
Okay. And then we set up a nice little experiment at the base of the stairs, put a plastic bag down on the ground to place our trigger objects on. And we're making so much noise with the setup that we didn't notice the sound at the front door. Which the control mic placed real close to it picked up beautifully.
Something rattles the door. There were no gusts of wind this night. It happened just that once.
We're not near the door at all, and we were making so much noise that we didn't notice it, but Tom had heard that front door rattle, which the control mic, real close to it, picked up beautifully.
We're in the middle because we're going up and down the steps. As we continue our setup, we hear our DVC camera. Let's set up a power experiment.
Wait, what just happened?
Shut off. 8 minutes after it was started.
Something shut off, and we'll spit out a word. And I just heard sound.
Yep.
And then we start hearing movement noises in the house. Who's here with us? All right, we're here to try to make contact with you. We got these devices set up already. You can probably see them. Tell us that you're here with us.
And Tom announces ourselves, and he makes the specific, intentioned invitation to interact with our REM pod.
A round device with a silver stick on it. Just walk up, touch that silver stick, let us know that you're here. All right. You put first batteries in black jazz
We carry about our business
up there.
so that we can take this investigation where it needs to go.
Okay, let's do it. Let's finish this.
All right.
Obvious.
Did you say all right?
Yeah, I did.
We finish with our trigger object experiment,
Shaking out some baby powder on the plastic.
where the trigger objects were a big play ball and a doll that Jay and Joe had brought with them.
Alright, trigger object down there.
Ball is down.
Tom had the idea of marking the ball with little X's,
You're down.
like reference points, so that if that ball did move in the slightest way, it'd be very easy to see on camera.
And we also placed an EM pump next to these trigger objects to be able to give the energy to be able to interact with these objects.
Everything looks great.
We're just about done with our equipment setup.
We gotta get this on the way, man. Finish up everything else that we need to do.
Stack detectors quick.
Tom starts recording on a specially modified camera for full spectrum.
That's me.
Set it on some static detection equipment in the dining room.
Ovulus and something.
That's it. That's the stairway.
All of a sudden, the REM pod starts to alarm on the stairs.
It's me setting the shadow detector off. Was that the REM pod?
That was the room pump.
drop what we're doing, go right over to the staircase. REM pod.
And at this point,
Okay, I'm turning the EM pump off.
Marty turns off the EM pump, just to be sure it wasn't the EM pump that was causing the REM pod to alarm.
Let us know you're here and set that device off. Thank you.
Can you shut it off?
We start trying to use it as a communication device.
For a moment there, it seemed like we were having intelligent communication with whatever was interfering with our REM pod, but then it started to go off on its own again.
Barry.
You are what?
It starts going crazy.
REM pod's going ape shit.
26.6.
I'm gonna reset the REM pod.
Thing it just goes crazy. So I grab it and I turn it off and turn it back on to reset the unit.
I wonder if it's buried around here, should we ask about it?
Dude, I reset the REM pod.
The
It's still
moment
going.
that I had it reset, it goes off again. It's like we can't get it to stop going off.
We've got nothing right now that should be setting this off. Our cell phones are in a Faraday cage. Our EM pump is off.
We didn't have our CBs activated at this point yet at all. We had left our cell phones in a Faraday cage in the car, in the garage, and no other piece of equipment we had would interfere with it like this.
I want millimeters over here right now.
But yet it would just continue to go off.
See if you can get a reading over there.
Oh, you're probably gonna set something off.
Whatever was causing that REM pod to go off, temperature, EMF, whatever, we could not detect.
That's crazy.
Nothing on this.
Plus, there was no recorded solar activity this night.
Flash.
The reset should have satisfied the REM pod completely, yet the thing wouldn't shut up.
Something's making that go off.
Flash.
Tom goes over and he resets it.
This time, the REM pod stopped alarming.
Okay, we're good.
So we decide
Just gonna step outside.
Okay.
we're just
Make
going
sure
to
tell
let the situation
everybody
settle
in here that we got everything set for them.
and see what happens.
So,
Tell us your name.
Movement to my left.
I start hearing noises coming from the room behind me.
REM pod.
REM pod still goes off.
who's setting off the REM pod?
Don't be shy.
We have never had
You may remember Jay and me. We were here earlier this year.
this piece of equipment act this way in our experience at all. Ever.
Who's in here? There's a lot of movement in here, dude.
I'm standing there looking at these doors, leaned against the wall, and I'm hearing sounds coming directly from
Coming
those doors.
right in front of me.
What's the name of the person on the stairs?
It sounds like it's coming from behind that door. Something's over here, dude.
And I take the camera and I look behind them, just wall and an outlet.
There's nothing. There's nothing behind this door, dude.
Not a hole
Like getting angry.
where an animal would be or anything like that. It was just this tiny little space between these two doors and the wall. but that's where I heard these noises coming from.
Well, we're gonna step outside for a second.
What are we gonna do about this room?
We're just gonna let the Wi-Fi go.
After we finish our equipment setup, all four of us troop outside to the garage.
Shit. This house actually had a garage that we could pull the car right into, keep a low profile.
We have a team meeting to discuss the course of the investigation that we're going to do now that all our equipment is set up. But the REM pod's still alarming inside the house.
Yeah.
Okay. You've never had to do that?
Yeah, because
No, not like that. Inside of the empty house, the control mic, this perfectly static recording device in the living room, picks up another frequency pop, immediately followed by more disembodied movement noises. It's fantastic evidence because we're not there to contaminate it.
One of the things we did was we made sure that there were no animals inside the house, and more importantly, no traces of people inside or around the house.
Do you think the REM pod's still going off in there?
I would probably look through one of the windows up here to see the light.
I don't hear it.
As we went through the video and audio evidence, we noticed something with the REM pod. Its audible tone starts to deviate with disturbances in the house. The only thing in there is our equipment. Yet we're recording noises of something moving around, doors shutting, but there was nobody there.
And we can prove that we're outside not making this noise.
This house is really impressing me. It's over 100 years old.
147 years old this year.
Wow.
Yep.
When did you guys start coming to this house?
Since I was 8. My girlfriend used to live here. She would hear unexplainable noises, people walking down the stairs, it sounded like, and we would think that it'd be like her parents. We spent the night one night, and
The sound was the sound of a boot.
it's just crazy. Yeah. Her sister would have crazy nightmares, and her brother would have toys that would just go off, that were so hard to push the button that, I mean, right then and there we knew that we always wanted to do something, and then I guess today's the day.
Hear an owl in the distance.
Yep.
You get the glow shit.
At this point, that full spectrum infrared camera that Tom had set up on the static detectors records the sound of physical contact with the camera itself, as if something's touching the camera a little bit.
All right, so who do you want going in first?
Huh?
Me.
Alone?
So we decide to split up, to go in there separately and do EVP sessions. At this time, we turn on our CB radios, cognizant of the fact that if we do use the CBs, it will set off the REM pod and the K2 meter and some of our other equipment. So we try not to
CBs on?
use them on a regular basis, but it's nice to have them on so we can communicate with each other if we have to. So I got that there.
Tom volunteers to go into the house, but then Jay ends up joining, so we split our team up into two,
Don't want him shoving in the basement shit.
Yeah, good luck.
and me and Joe stayed back in the garage and warm up in the car.
No, I'm not going down there.
All right, let's sit in the car.
I'm sitting on top.
So Jay and I come back,
Jay and I go in to do our investigation.
see who's in here with us.
The REM pod immediately goes off briefly and then does not go off again for the rest of the night.
Right.
Who's in here with us?
Jay and myself did a thorough EVP session of the home.
Can you touch that silver stick again?
Downstairs,
Her brother's room, maybe.
upstairs.
Is there somebody up here with us?
It is absolutely quiet.
The shit or something awful.
Oh yeah, I feel that too.
By the time Jay and Tom get through this whole house
Can you move that ball at the bottom of the stairs, please?
and wrap up their two-man team here,
Oh man, my legs are just rubbery.
both Tom and Jay describe feeling completely energy drained. Their strength has left, their extremities are extremely cold,
Yeah, I
they have
feel
very
like
little energy, like they've been drained.
When I was up there at the corner, I was like lightheaded and I still kind of getting it back.
They were zapped.
And then our camera that we have set up on the static detectors in the dining room starts recording some weird interference. Right before it shuts down.
That was the RJ shut off. This camera right there.
Another camera, drained batteries.
All right, well, we're gonna go outside
And right before we leave,
and we're going to have our,
we hear the camera on the battery experiment upstairs shut down
the
also.
other camera that I just put fresh batteries and shut off.
At this point,
coming back up.
Jay and Tom went back outside and returned to us
Watch your step.
and prepare for me and Joe to go in.
Let's go, guys.
It quieted down an awful lot from the time that
Yep.
we were in there. But the jazz upstairs shut down.
You hear us talk a lot
That shouldn't have shut down.
That shouldn't have shut down.
about transient precursor theory.
The IR jazz,
Yeah.
it's drained too.
But we've been noticing something else
Yeah, well, go in there with your camera, it's not working.
in many of our investigations.
You hear that? It sounds like a cat whining.
I heard that.
So, that's a
Coyotes.
coyote. Whoa, dude.
Almost every single investigation. It is uncanny.
It's like
Pat.
a coyote precursor theory.
That's for you.
Okay.
That's for you.
It is to the point where if I'm on an investigation now and I hear coyotes at any point, I'm dropping whatever I do to absolutely run directly into the middle of it and record everything possible, because this is the sign that something is really underway.
The home is empty. We know that there was nobody there. But we get this series of movement noises from throughout this house.
We recorded some very serious disembodied noises inside of this house while we're in the garage. Sounds like heavy boots stomping down on the ground.
Okay.
And we can prove
This? At the top
none
of
of
the
us
stairs.
were inside this house.
The noises are in no way connected to the noises that the control mics are recording with us out in the garage.
In using the scoring method, we can, second by second, minute by minute, compare all these audio sources together.
This is phenomenal paranormal evidence. We can prove that we had nothing to do with those sounds being made in that house at that time.
Joe and Marty entered to do their EVP session and announced themselves.
This is Joe and Marty in the house now.
All right, I'm asking the spirits that reside in this house to communicate with us. We don't intend to harm you in any way, and we'd appreciate it if you could manifest or make a sound to let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're here.
That's definitely something.
That qualifies as a sound. Again, it's coming from this room.
More noises coming from this back room.
I heard sound from.
Joe and I take our camera and we go into this back room where the noises are coming from again. They're happening right there in front of us. Sounds like it's coming from behind those doors leaned against the wall.
And then they start hearing the noises over their heads.
Wow.
We can hear you making noise everywhere else.
Upstairs.
All we know is it's not us making this noise. It's like, all right, we're going upstairs.
Alright,
That's me stepping the shadow checker off.
come right behind you here.
We go through the staircase setup and set off our million alarms. It's like Fort Knox up the staircase there.
So is the 3 o'clock hour thing real?
Yeah, crazy stuff happens between 3 and 4 in the morning.
What time is it? Is it that time already?
I have no idea.
So, this thing shut off.
I'm getting something right here,
Get upstairs,
straight into the hallway.
the shadow detection circuit
upstairs.
that's on the millimeter that Joe has
It went away.
starts alarming.
I think something's with us.
You don't need to run away from the sound.
They continue their EVP session upstairs.
It's only back here.
Yeah.
You'll really connect to a location
Which room
sometimes.
did you go?
Joe really had that connection to this location, and so I was really keeping an eye on him.
Oh, I'm right. You're in Frankie's room.
And I'm just following him around through these rooms upstairs.
You went away.
Do you remember Frankie?
He was the kid with all the little Hot Wheels that you like to play
He
with.
seems to be picking up on
Stomach.
something that's breaking the IR beam on the shadow detection circuit.
You know, it's the last time someone busted out your windows.
And I know these things are touchy.
We're not here to do any of that.
The IR light from cameras can throw them off.
We intend to treat you with respect.
So I'm being mindful of that when I share this.
It's not in the room. I can't pick it up.
Yeah, her parents didn't believe her at all. Like, they still don't. And I showed them, like, the voice that says, "That's it," and they don't believe her.
Well, we'll see when we do our evidence review. Got anything?
Are you in the doorway? I can't see you. You're not there anymore.
Joe and I try to respectfully provoke some
Let's
activity.
change your rooms because I'm not picking anything up.
Desperate to make visual contact with whatever is in this house.
Did you know Michael Ward?
We want to give you your voice back. Before we head out, I want to try that dining area back there.
I want to try the basement too.
Basement was really the only place that nobody really wanted to go down there.
You be my guest. I ain't going down. That is one area where I will not go.
Are we gonna try to make it down to the basement or no?
I don't know.
Huh?
The whole rest of me is completely warm. My hands feel like I got them sticking in ice.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me, holy crap. Your fingertip is 30 degrees.
My fingertips below freezing? Freezing is 32. Golly.
Yeah.
Alright, well.
The floor right here is reading 15 degrees. Like a battery experiment, obviously.
So they finish investigating upstairs, come downstairs, and proceed to challenge whatever's at the ward house to interact with the trigger object that we had set.
All right. If you can move this ball for us, we'll come back. We'll keep talking to you.
REM pod's all off now and quiet and everything, so I turn the EM pump back on.
Into the dining area.
At this part of the investigation,
Here.
Marty and Joe hear a disembodied, childlike vocal tone right before
Wow, did you hear that?
That wasn't you?
No.
the ovulus says the word
I heard a voice.
waste. Little did we realize this is the basis for
Did you just make a voice?
one of the most heebie-jeebie inducing paranormal events for me personally.
The voice that I heard, dude, was like 1 second before the obvious went off.
I really remember this moment quite well because it sent a deep shiver down my spine.
Waste.
Waste.
But at this time, Marty and Joe continue their EVP session.
What are we gonna find if we go in the basement?
And then they start hearing what to them sounds like a heartbeat.
You hear that? It's like a heartbeat. Now it's gone. There it is. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
If I had known better, I would think it was coming from one of us.
You hear that? It's like a heartbeat.
Not regularly spaced, like it was a heartbeat,
gone.
but to them at the time it did sound like a heartbeat.
Do you hear it?
Yeah.
It was coming from somewhere in the kitchen, and both me and Joe heard it. Probably one of the strangest pieces of evidence we've collected.
Weird. Just weird.
What the hell was that?
Unholy.
And then right on the heels of this, the ovulus says unholy.
Whoa. Who's unholy?
Both Marty and Joe were cold. Joe was just freezing.
I'm ready to go out, try and warm my hands up, throw some gloves on. Let's do it. See what they got to say.
They come outside so they could get in the car and warm up.
So at this point, we return to regroup.
Okay, yeah.
When they started telling me all the crap that was going on inside this house, I was flabbergasted.
Last one said unholy.
Would you mind keeping that light out of my eye?
Something was setting our shadow detector off up there on the mill.
Yeah,
It was like it was walking around us or something.
At least now we know. Oh, it's so cold. God, my fingers will not warm up.
As we're outside, like the other times the house has been empty, there's a ramp up of activity. and we are not in there.
We were in a closed-up garage that was outside, separate from the house.
Nobody came in, went up the stairs, and made these noises. Well, shall we?
Yes.
All right.
It was going to happen now or never, so we re-entered the house as a group to close our session.
We're not gonna be here that much longer.
Can you knock on something?
Heard sound coming from the bedroom again.
Are you in the bedroom?
I hear a lot of sounds coming from that room there.
What? Self.
You're here by yourself?
We make our last-ditch effort before wrapping up our investigation.
If that was you, can you knock again?
At this point of our investigation, we're starting to realize we're dealing with something intelligent that is haunting this location.
I might just go in the basement.
I found the basement
You
irresistible.
basement right away.
I simply had to at least once go down into that basement
You wanna go down
to
there?
see if we were missing anything.
I told you already. I ain't going down there.
I do.
I'm not waiting.
Do you want to go down with me?
I'm really afraid we're gonna fall.
Just
through
check
this.
it out quick.
Yeah. Yes.
Marty
You need a flashlight.
talks Jay into going down the basement.
I feel like it works.
You got a flashlight?
And then
You want us to take that too?
there's 3 footsteps, not related to any of us,
You want us
in
to
the
take that
room
too?
that we're standing in.
You want us to take that too?
If you two just walking.
It happened
They're gonna look to their foot.
right in front of me.
That's it.
I've been still.
I just heard it.
Value.
It recorded on our audio devices,
What the hell?
and then
Big sound.
there's a big movement noise.
What the hell?
That's big sound.
Right there with us.
Drive.
Whatever is haunting this place intelligently is getting more and more comfortable with our presence and is moving closer and closer.
I'm going down.
Holy shit. Look at this.
Who's here playing games with us?
To my surprise, we get down into this basement, and there I see a little blinking light
Off of this.
on the furnace in the basement.
We appear to have found some kind of power source. How could there be power here?
I don't understand that. That makes no sense.
Hold the millimeter around this transformer unit.
Descend. We are not going down there with the rest of us.
This house is not supposed to have any power.
This could be ghost food right here.
It had been disconnected years
Where
ago.
does the power come from?
That's the power cord right there. Wouldn't it be able to
As
pick
to
it up?
how there is power running through the furnace in this house is beyond my
Seems like you
explanation.
were getting the biggest spike
Right down here.
right here by this thing.
We've done EMF sweep all over the house. There was no other EMF in the house present all night, but
Is anybody down,
down
here?
in the basement, right next to this furnace, we were
Sure, you
getting a
have
feel.
enough power. You could say something.
Yep.
Much.
Okay, this is super creepy.
The basement was filthy. It was disgusting.
There's some kind of
And
web.
imagine the bacteria present.
Oh, I feel something in my legs.
Are there remains under us?
The well.
And the one significant thing we did find down there was that whatever's in this house does have an energy source.
Upstairs.
All right, we're going back upstairs.
We've been at it for a good long while. We were tired, we were cold.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
So Marty and Jake come up from the basement and we proceed to break down
Watch.
much our investigation.
Well, I think we made an important discovery in the basement.
Oh yeah, there's power.
What?
Yeah, spiked up to what, like 5 something?
There's some kind of power feeding into the furnace, which is certainly a source of energy.
Yeah.
This whole grid's supposed to be dead.
There's a blinking light down there. Right on the furnace. I don't know where it could be coming from. But he held the millimeter right up to it, and it was a huge spike.
There's a well down there too.
What kind of well?
Like build had a cage over it, and there's 2, and they're down on the ground. There's like filled.
Fashion stone.
Shall we pack it up?
Yeah.
Oh god.
There's a little bit of white powder on the underside of the ball. Like, might have rolled back and forth.
Oh, there totally is.
I don't know if that's static
Look.
or if we could roll.
I can see it on camera. Look at my screen. See that?
Our cameras were able to confirm that the ball didn't move at all night. We can look at different points in the investigation and see that the ball indeed did not move at all, but it somehow ended up with all this powder stuck to the bottom of it.
Yeah, our first thought on site was static electricity causing baby powder to stick to it.
But the ball wasn't being handled a lot. It just sat there on the plastic all night.
I see the bottom of that thing.
This required an experiment.
We tried to reproduce this using a Van de Graaff generator.
Which is capable of producing 450,000 volts of static electricity. We set up our baby powder in a little rubber toy ball.
And we have not been able to reproduce it at all.
Nothing we tried to do would cause the ball to have enough static electricity in order to physically suck particles of baby powder up onto the ball like that.
However, a Van de Graaff generator, when it's got a full static charge on it, would literally suck baby powder through the air.
Maybe the entity wasn't able to actually move that ball, but something happened to that ball to cause an incredible amount of static electricity that caused that powder to suck up to the bottom of it like that.
Came down the stairs.
Yeah?
Both of his legs are so rubbery.
Look at that dude.
Something weird happened that night with that ball in its field of baby powder. Whatever your name is, bid you adieu.
We decided to officially close our session.
I'd expect that we'll return. You're not allowed to follow us.
Say our goodbyes.
Nope, not allowed to follow us.
We start gathering up equipment and turning stuff off.
Grab your thing. Well,
It was time to call it a night. Start picking up and getting ready to go.
direct.
Okay. Alright, so go through the obvious.
Grab the Ovulus and I start cycling through the recall list, which the computer memory banks keeps on file. This reads back basically all of the Ovulus hits that we received throughout the night in reverse.
Value. Self. Won't.
So I'm cycling through the Ovulus list. All of a sudden it reads out
Holy. Tom.
Tom.
My name,
Tom.
Tom,
Said your name, dude.
appeared
Actually,
in the list of
T-O-M.
Ovulus
Said your
words.
name.
But the Ovulus never actually said my name. Earlier in the night, Marty and Joe move into the dining room area. They heard a childlike vocal tone, followed immediately
Wow, did you hear that?
That wasn't you?
by the word waste. My name
Her voice.
replaced waste in its queue of words that it said that night.
Did you just make a voice?
This is one of the creepiest and weirdest things that I've ever seen the Ovulus do. Something caused Tom's name to be inserted in place of that word that corresponded with the moment that we heard that childlike vocalization.
Hear that?
That wasn't you?
No. Tom?
An Ovilus was manipulated right there where we were going through the recall list.
Said your name.
And the fact that my name replaced waste really unsettles me. Because there's a context of the word that it replaced, the fact that it was my name, and at the same time, they both heard an audible, childlike vocal noise.
That's just wrong. It's just wrong. And really scary. Really scary.
I've never heard you do that before. What's going on here?
Did you shut something off and just started
The CBs we have on, that we've almost forgot about,
Brand new batteries in the CBs.
start picking up weird radio frequency
Mine's
interference.
going.
We've had interference with CBs, but never heard any interference come through it quite like this before.
What the hell's that?
It's subjective, but
I heard something right behind us.
this moment, the environment around us really started to feel kind of dark and negative.
Let's go over this stuff later. Let's just back up.
Yeah.
This was obviously the closest this entity had gotten to us all night long. It was right there next to us.
The CBs there, that's the first.
We were freaked
Never heard
out.
you do that.
It got what it wanted. We left, but it became hard to breathe. It became uncomfortable, claustrophobic.
I didn't really get the chance to take it in. I kind of just didn't want to think about it because all the stuff that was going on was real, too real.
The Ward House is 100% paranormally active.
This house is so special. It is so active.
The ball's going with us.
So much stuff has gone on.
You want the doll?
It's genuine, I assure you.
You should leave it off.
So much weirdness. We had a camera with completely fresh batteries in it, drained and shut down. Another camera with new batteries in it, drained and shut down. Another camera that ran for 8 minutes had a corrupted, empty file on the memory card.
Wait, what just happened?
It didn't record anything and shut down. We had all these batteries drained. Not the battery experiment. No.
Then all the bangs and the noises.
We had movement noises, thuds, and footsteps.
You want us to take that too?
It took one investigation to find out this house is one of the most active paranormal locations I've ever investigated.
That's it. What the hell?
I have a full-bodied apparition to present to you, at least not yet, but we've got about the next best thing.
What the hell's that?
Something's not right there. I really want to figure out what's in that house. The only way I'm gonna get closure is if I do that.
We always come across different ideas, different theories. We experience different things every time we go. Where I'm at currently, there's a darkness to that house, but there's also a presence of innocence. And the playfulness kind of disappears when the darkness comes out.
It's trying to show itself, and unfortunately you really don't know what you get until it does. You could have some demonic entity, or you could have something that is not going to hurt you, just wants to be known. I feel like if you keep trying and if you poke at it enough, that it will show itself. I want to be there when it does.
So we drive off. But our night of weirdness is not over yet.
On the way home, we went to fish our phones out of the Faraday box.
The first person to notice something was Jay. His phone is dead.
Dad, it was in a Faraday cage. What about my phone? They dig out my phone, give it to me. I look at my phone, I try to turn it on, my phone won't turn on. It was fully charged before I'd put it into that Faraday box. The Faraday box completely shields the cell phones from receiving any communication signals or sending any.
Joe finds that his phone has been in picture mode, taking pictures of the inside of the Faraday cage.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
My phone, however, was completely left alone.
I'll leave this up to you to decide what that means, but that should not have happened. 2 cell phones being completely drained of batteries inside a shielded Faraday cage that was out in the garage, that wasn't even in the house. That's super, super creepy.
In investigating... Get your squeaks out.